folding 4-3 to cut off open. This is close. 10 Jack, they are 19-12, so on the nittier side. 10 Jack doesn't play great from the small blind, and we will be squeezed to a certain extent from the big blind, so I'm just going to fold here. Pocket fives, I'm just going to open for a min open on table 2, and opening pocket fives table 2 here. It's not the best flop for our range. We don't. If they had a 5 of spades here, I think I would jump in and continue, but I'm just going to fold to this pressure here. And Jack deuce, I'm just going to fold as well. 9-8, it will open. We've got 2 weaker players on this table. We've got multi-way. We do have more King X in our range, but I think we can afford just to check because we're going multi-way here. Pick up a diamond draw, which is interesting. I will now lead because I can check a king, especially on this dry flop. I'm going to lead for a small amount, and then also I've got the backdoor equity of a diamond draw, and everybody folds, which is nice. Table 1. It's a reasonably connected flop, and we are multi-way, so I'm going to check this. Very similar to the other hand. I'm going to fold. I'm going to flat my ace-jack because we have a weaker player in the big blind. So this player c-bets 41% out of almost 300 hands. It's a reasonably dry board. If I had like ace-jack suited here, ace-jack of clubs, I'd be calling, or any ace-jack suited. But I think it's fine just to let this go on this board. $10-9, we will open for a min raise. Good board for us, opening a straight draw. We're just going to flat here, and we work around 6-3 off. It's not good enough to steal. Ace Jack, we will open. So they do have some King X here. They also have some Jack X. I'm going to bet now just to try and take it down. I'm going to be open Queen Jack suit offsuit because there's a fish in the big blind. Normally this would be a fold on a reggie table. We do have some range advantage here that we have more better ace X, so I can bet and take this down. I also block ace queen and ace jack, which is fine. And then definitely opening pocket eights from under the gun, targeting this fishy player here. This is an interesting board. Again, I think we can rep more aces, and we do have some eights. They are reasonably tight players, so I'm looking for kind of folding hands like smaller pocket pairs, tens essentially, and some 9x. King 8 is a 3-bet to 8 big blinds. King 8 suited versus what a 2019 folds 3-bet to 60. So he's like a standard reg of these levels. But we can still, this is close. I think I'm going to flat just because we're closing the action. And there's also a fish in what is the cutoff middle position, excuse me. King 9 suited, I will obviously I will open. We get 3-bet. This is not a hand I defend with, so I'm just going to let this go. King 9 off actually is a hand I defend with. This is quite a reggy player, so I'm going to call 1 and see how this develops. I actually think this is in the 4-bet range. Do you know, I'm going to let it go this time. Because we were involved in his hand. Now he leads again. I do have a gut shot, and this guy can be bluffing. So he's a 31. Out of 31's hands, he's a 59-29. So he does have some sort of aggro tendency. So we can call again, and we also have our gut shot. This Jack's a good card. I'm just going to 3-bet with my ace 3 off. Jack's a good card because it puts less jacks in their range, and we win with a 6 versus ace king. So I 3-bet 8-3. It's not good enough to flat, so it goes into my polar range. It is suited, so we can have a little bit more equity when called. So it is quite a nice hand to make that play with. This is close. I think because we're in position, they're not huge squeezes. Squeezes are 5 and 26-17. So I actually think I can just flat because it's just a small open, and I have the button. If we've got more aggressive players to our immediate left, I'm actually going to make a tiny little stab and just try and fold out some junk, and he would definitely check his his aces here. I do have some equity. I'm just trying to work out what the best play is now. I think I can just bet one more street and then look. And I will flat with Jack 9 in position here. We get check raise, which is kind of fine. They can have some 6s and ace X. They can also have, this is kind of a weird play, but I'm going to let it go. I do flop very well on this table, and both players have checked. I want to bet for protection here. So I'm just going to bet 8. We have a flush draw. We can get called by some ace kings. So they can have a better diamond, better flush draw, and hands like queen jack. So I actually might just check back a street and then call this bet if they lead. Now I will go for some small value versus like ace 10. Ace 10, 10 9. That's fine. This board here, pretty dry board for our range versus a fish. We're just going to see bet. We also have a backdoor club draw, so we can barrel some turns. It's crashing. Excuse me, I'll be back in a sec. Okay. So we're going to open 3x with pocket 10s. We have a perceived fish here in the big blind. I will bet something like 4. That is a hand against more aggressive players. That's a board that I can be raised on, so I'd be having to be calling that on some occasions. Ace 7 off is not a 3-bet versus these players. Ace 7 suited is, so we dump all our offsuit aces to a 3-bet, and we're going to be 3xing with ace queen. Ace 10 is close. I think I'll probably let it go, but it is close. And the reason it's close there is because they are a fish, but they are opening, so I am sort of dominated there. Pocket fours from the small blind, I'm not going to 3-bet. I am reasonably deep and I could call, but I do think that this player actually might flat behind him. We're all deep, so I actually think we can flat there. Yeah, so we're not as likely to get squeezed. So out of 471 hands, their squeeze is 0, and they're 28-16, which means they call more than they raise, which is obviously really good for us. We don't want them to be a really squeezy player. We're now multi-way. We didn't hit anything, so we can easily check fold. But I think that's a good time where we can flat our pocket fours there. This is close with 5-6. I think I might just... I'm trying to defend a lot more and get into some tricky spots, so... have a nit. I might just check back, bet turn. Now I'm definitely betting because of our range, and I'm just going to check fold my 5-6 off. Doing lots of fast folding. So ace-3, I'm going to 3-bet light versus under the gun. We are relatively deep, so I do expect to get called a little bit more here. This is not the best board for me. This guy has a lot of range advantage. So I'm actually just going to check fold. I'm going to bet small. Do I bet small on this board? I can bet reasonably small. I have a backdoor. Oh, do you know what? So I didn't even see I hit the 3, but I think it's okay just do a small bet. Again, we're just folding our ace king here. They have lots and lots of hands that we don't have, like Jack 9. Don't have that from under the gun, so we can just fold and give up our. We don't have to c-bet with our range. So it's important to understand when you hit the board and when the villain range hits the board better than what yours does. And on that occasion, you know, for example, I don't have Jack 9. I have all the sets, but I don't have like the nutted range. Queen 6 is fine as a fold. Check call on table 1 with my 9s. I also have a backdoor diamond. They are a 17-4. So I have to sort of proceed carefully on this board. They can ace queen, ace jack, king queen. They can also have some bluffs with the diamond, but I do block the diamond draw. I think it's fine to let it go, just on pure player type alone. They can have hands like Jack 10 that are beating me, but I do block the diamonds and I block the 10. So their hand predominantly is like sets, and like the weaker set there, and Queen X. So I think it's fine to let it go, especially against that player type. Against the more aggressive reg or aggro fish, I think it's totally fine to call one more street and then reevaluate the river. King 8's an open, and this will be a 4-bet versus cutoff. There's a good chance we can be squeezed, but we've got a 14. I'm going to fold. This is close. Probably going to fold King 8. I will see bet. This guy has a very, very high fold to see bet. We've also got backdoor clubs that we can barrel. Do you know what I didn't? Sorry, all the commentary. I missed the fact that I had an 8, so this probably should have gone into my check call range. So they can have something like 10-9. I think we can call. That's a big bet. So we're over the small sample. We have 225 hands. It's a 55. Fold to C bet with the fold to turn barrel. I think they do have some ace X in their range, and they bet very big. It's close. They literally are floating with hands like 10-9, which has some equity against us. 6-5 just got there, which could be in their range. They are pretty wide, so I think that's okay. Open a 2.5x from the cutoff. It's a pretty non-drawy board, so I think I can bet small for the times I don't have it here. They do call. So I block the straight, which is fine. All the straight draws. I might actually just check back, call, turn, or go for value. Sorry, call river, go for value. I think now they have some 9x, 9-8, hands like that. So I'm just going to go for a 6 big blind value. Because they can float that with ace queen, king queen. You should be floating boards like that because it's dry. I'm going to open 9-8 from under the gun because we have a fish in the big blind. This is close. We do have a backdoor draw. We don't have much of a read on this player. We do have some barrel opportunities, and we can barrel hands like aces, an ace and a king if they come out. We get raised on this board and it's just an easy throwaway. That's fine. So that's again a board that can be raised as a bluff. So there's a lot of like diamond draws that can raise that. So if I had king queen here, king queen off, or ace queen, I'd look to do what's called a cold 4-bet. Maybe ace jack off suit as well. I'm going to flat with my look at the regs. King 10 suited, I think is fine. I'm going to float because we have gut shots. We have one overcard. Not a gut shot, sorry. We have a backdoor draw. Now with this second barrel, I'm just going to fold. But if I have something like an 8 of spades, you know, any kings good, 9. There's hands where I can pull some moves, but this is pretty bad, and also the bet size that you're using. So I'm just going to let it go. But it had potential, so rather just playing fit or fold. If I was deeper on table 1, so if I had this, my stack here for 147, I would flat this. But because it's it's quite a large 3-bet as well for 11 big blinds, and we're not deep enough, so my implied odds are not great. Also, they can be bluffing there, so we can't sort of profitably set mine there. I could open more here with my ace 5. I think that should be 3x. So to be balanced, I'm going to open 2x here. The fish has called. The board's relatively dry, so I can afford to check back a street. They can also have better ace x. I might go for some very thin value versus I'm just working out if I can actually bet here. I'm going to flat with my ace queen because of the fish here. Just working out if I can actually bet and get called by like pocket 7s for a very small bet. I'm just going to fold my ace queen. So that was really like trying to go for the thinnest value versus, because they obviously can have 9s. And some better ace x, and some, obviously there's a king there as well. So hopefully they backed into a king, but I doubt it. But their range is probably some weak pocket pair. This is close. This seems to be aggressive regular to the button. So let that go. So I flatted my ace queen on table 1 back there because there was a fish in the blind. Again, for the same reason I can't call here out of position, so I just fold. This is real close. Well, like the odds I'm getting are insane, so I think I have to call. Not expecting to win this very often, but as you can see, I had to call 2 to win almost 14. So I'm just going to check fold. We do have a backdoor draw in terms of straight draw. But we're never really good. This is like a stupid bet. I hope he has pocket 3s and hoping someone has a flush. Because that is too much. Getting 3-bet a ton. I'm still going to stick to pocket 8s are close. I just tend to defend like 9s plus, so I'm going to stick to my range. Okay, so definitely opening 9-8 suited in the cutoff. I'm going to 3x open because we've got fish in the blinds. I get 3-bet again, so 9s I will call in position. I can have queens in my range here. I'm going to c-bet as well. And this is close to a call. Because they bet half pot, they can have ace king, so I'm going to call 1. This does kind of suck. If they check, I don't see many queens in their range, so actually I can possibly bluff this. This is real close. I can check back and maybe jam river. If they got aces or kings, I'm kind of giving it away. I think I'm just going to have to use my showdown. Fair dues. Trying to get aces. It's kind of ambitious to try and get aces and kings to fold there, but it's not a bad play. This is close. I'm going to fold ace-3 because there's an aggressive player to my immediate left. This isn't. I think this is fine, a 3-bet, because we've got a sort of loose player. They fold to 3-bet like 22%, and they don't fold very often, and they go to showdown and lose. So this is something I'm just going to try and barrel and just go for value against them. This is real close. I think I can just go for a very tiny, like 2 big blind bet and just try and take it down versus them. I turn a gut shot, which is interesting. If I had spades, I think I'd barrel again. They do have, that means they do have more spades. They are a fish though, however, so I think I can possibly just check down. And they lead on this board, I just need to let it go, unfortunately. Ace-3 is a 4-bet. 16, 12, 18. So obviously I can't call with ace-3, so I use it as a 4-bet. I block aces, ace-king, and which is really good for me. So by doing that, for example, combos of aces go from 6 to 3, and ace-king we chop out 4, which is amazing. We can't call obviously on table 1. Jacks, I'm going to open for 3x. We're trying to, not 4. Trying exploitatively versus this player who folds a lot, who calls a lot, excuse me. Ace-10 is close. I think it's okay in the middle position. Under the gun, I'll be closing this on this table. We've got like a super, 2017, 22-17, 22-19, 33-23. So we're going to get 3-bet a lot. And so we're just going to fold this out. This is fine to flat. Definitely going to call on this board with top pair. I think we can bet again for value. We want to try and the draws, keep the draws in, not give them a free card. 8-7 does get there, but I think we can bet 1. So we're going to 4-bet versus this player here. Again, using the suited aces. This is pretty good for us. Obviously we flop good. They can have ace queen, ace 10. I don't think they've got ace king. We want to bet small to rep on this board. They can have ace queen. So I'm never folding now. I put this money in, I don't think. Happy days. Ace queen I'm going to flat versus under the gun and check call on this board. So easy check calls. A 28-19 is a super aggro player. This is like probably, I would say, some of the better players at this level. I'm going to bet small on this board. They've barreled again. This is close. The fact that they've barreled again on a diamond draw, they can have. I think I can call fold. And definitely fold. I was going to call because they can be using some like club draws. So this is now an easy fold, and they either got there or they had it before. But essentially, they really only have like ace 10 of clubs. This is a good bluff if they do it, but they've also got ace king in there, and it's an interesting hand actually. I can't be looking to fold straight away because that player can be extremely bluffy, and they can use good cards to barrel. I'm going to flat with pocket fives versus a fishier player. I'm going to make a small bet on this player versus this on this dry board. I'm going to check back and then delay stab on the turn because they opened, and now yeah, we're just going to try and take it down with the ace 5 once they check to us twice. Obviously we want to protect hands from like ace queen. We don't want to give them an overcard or anything like that, so this player folds a ton, 63, so again we're just going to make a very small bet, try and follow their hands. So the board is quite drawy. Now they've called because they fold so high. I'm just going to check back. I have actually got a 4 which I could use. But they do have a number of 2-pair like queen 9 straights. They do very well on this board. They can check back. I expect to see something like queen X, but I don't think. Can I bluff this 10 8? No, I can't really bluff it. So I expect to see like queen jack here a lot and queen 7, yeah. But I think I'm getting called a reasonable amount. So 39-7. I'm just going to bet big versus this player type and try and stack them versus a king. That's not the best card. I might check back street and then call river if they check. Sweet. Yeah, because I don't want to bet and then get check raised on that board with that equity. It's better just to check back and bluff catch, and then also the pot smaller. This is close. I'm just checking if there's any fish, because I actually think we can like min ISO this player with ace queen. It seems to be a weaker player. Opening 2x is not really ideal from under the gun, and also they are short stacked. We do get flattered by another tricky 24-19. Their range is some jacks, ace king, queens, tens. I don't really have a backdoor draw. I can try one barrel. Timed out annoyingly because my stars got stuck. So now if I check back here, what can I represent? I can represent jacks, which would check back on this board. I can actually slow play some aces and kings and all this kind of stuff, but I just think maybe just fold. But it is very, very, they call it they did call a 3-bet, but unfortunately the way stars played that, I couldn't get any information, and then you're calling blind because you have no information on their hand, which we don't want to do. We want to sort of try and get as much information out of these people as possible. Jack 9 I'm going to open for 3x because we've got a fishy player here, and we're going to 3-bet to I think 8 versus a 48-16. So as you can see, this is 50 an hour and there are fish everywhere, which is awesome. So the pool is still fresh. There are some very good players in this pool, and there are obviously some weaker players. I'm going to flat. We got 6-7 and there's a weaker player here, and we are deep. And you'll be getting check raised, boy. Will you be getting check raised? I think so, because we want them to I don't see them having many, but essentially they've got to have pocket threes. They call, this is tough. They can have overpairs. 10-9 I can't see them calling, unless they had me beat already with 4-5. I think then so be it. I'm going to bet small, and hopefully they have aces and kings that just can't quite fold yet. So I don't think, if they shove, I don't think they're ever bluffing. And we are relatively deep still. So I might have to fold. But I think they have something like jacks plus They are 35-19 as well, so there's a better chance of getting called. But they folded and we make some nice bank. This is close because they are a fish and this stack size is small. I think for ace queen suited I think I can call, but I'm just gonna fold, which kind of sucks. This is really interesting on table 1. I've got to work out if I want to squeeze or fold. I think I can call. I'm closing the action. This could be a 3-bet for value, but the problem is I perceive both these players as fish, so I could 3-bet and be out of position versus 2 players, which does kind of suck. I'm just going to check down my ace queen. And they bet. So again, I'm just going to fold. They lead into 2 players, and that's it. So I think that could be slightly passive. Queen 9. I think it's close enough, but okay. So fish limps, which is amazing, and we're going to ISO them to 4x. Good board for us. They can have some queen x and some flush draws. They lead, which is interesting. Do I raise? I think I raise. Or do I call? I might call. That's an interesting card. This is close. I think I'm just going to bet and hope not to get check raised. Again, it's because this is a fish, I'm going for some thin value, but they can have like pocket deuces here now. So we want to get value from that rather than check behind. And now we can check fold on this board, I think, because I don't think they're ever bluffing. So that could have been a mistake by not raising with the aces, but they also can just be full of shit and, excuse me, and have nothing there. So it's close. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get this session, and Caritas is going to give, me and Caritas going to have a lesson, and he's going to go through how I played it and review, which is really important, I think. So I'm going to flat my king jack after this guy limps, and we want to try and get into action with him. We've also got a gut shot on this board. We don't have queens. We do have pocket 9s and pocket deuces, so we can actually check raise here. Jack 10. And they folded. So again, we've got a gut shot, we've got 1 over card. They're not really feeling great. Also, we block kings. We don't block queens, but I think it's a nice hand to do that play with. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause and then pull up the stats for the session, and I'll be back in a sec.